Hello guys and welcome back to my channel, and today I will be doing a small review for Luigi's Mansion 2 HD for the Switch based on Digital Foundry's review of the game. So let's get into it. Like and subscribe to this video on YouTube, man. Let's go.
Here we are once again visiting everyone's favorite mansion, Luigi's Mansion. Originally released on the GameCube back in 2001, initial skepticism quickly turned into newfound appreciation.
I'm not gonna lie. Oh my gosh. I'm not gonna lie. I never played this game back in 2013. Like I never had a GameCube or 3DS, so that's pretty cool that it came out like a long time ago. So yeah.
Quickly turned into newfound appreciation, and Luigi's Mansion would go on to become regarded as a classic. Yet following its release, the series went dormant for more than a decade until Next Level Games, who had previously worked with Nintendo on titles such as Punch-Out!, were given a chance to create a new entry. This one was known as Luigi's Mansion Dark Moon, and it was released for Nintendo's 3DS. It was a success, and this success ultimately led.
Right, I didn't play this one, and I'm surprised that when this game came out, it wasn't titled Dark Moon. It was actually titled Luigi's Mansion 2 HD. But I mean, I still like the title. It's pretty cool.
To a third entry created exclusively for Nintendo Switch, which remains one of the most technically impressive games on the console. But now, as the Switch marches towards its final days, Nintendo has decided to release an enhanced conversion of the second game, Dark Moon. Yes, the 3DS game has returned, promising enhanced visuals and other quality of life changes. The packaging is intriguing, but is it worth revisiting today, and how much has changed in terms of presentation?
Like, look at the difference between the Nintendo Switch of now and the Nintendo 3DS. Like, obviously, there's a major difference, and I still think that it was worth doing the remake. There's a huge difference between the two, and I'm glad they actually did the remake. It's pretty cool.
That's what I hope to discuss here today, so let's get right into it.
Let's do it.
As an
Digital
enhanced
Foundry
3DS game, I wasn't initially sure what to expect from Luigi's Mansion 2 HD. 3DS games occupy a curious space where in certain aspects they can still appear suitably modern, but at the same time things like texture detail and geometry were budgeted according to a low resolution.
I never played this game. I forgot what. I think he does say it in this video. What's the name of this game? But I have no idea.
Tiny screen. Luigi's Mansion Dark Moon, however, is an interesting example as it's one
that's crazy. This is how we usually used to play video games like this. Like we thought that this was like the best version of video games ever with like pixelated images and all this other stuff. Like Jesus Christ, we were kind of ahead of our time, but like I can't believe that this is what we had back in the day and we like cherished it. And now with the PS5 graphics, the Xbox One graphics and everything, it's like the game has totally changed.
Stands out as one of the more visually impressive games on the platform. Next Level really managed to create something special here that perfectly leverages the 3DS's capabilities. This new HD version, however, seems to have been developed instead by Tantalus, the same studio that produced the HD version of Skyward Sword a couple years back, not to mention the Sega Saturn port of Wipeout way.
Bro, you know what this game reminds me of? I'm not gonna lie. It reminds me of that Star Wars game for the Nintendo 64. I think it's Star Wars Racers, if I'm not mistaken. And that's what this game reminds me of. I haven't played Star Wars Racers in years. I used to play that all the time as a kid.
Back in the day, among many other things. Yeah, Tantalus has a storied history. Now, at its core, Luigi's Mansion 2 is fundamentally designed in a very different way compared to the original game. It's even more mission-based than the first game, with you selecting your missions from a menu before returning to one of the various mansions. Yet while it feels more broken up, likely for handheld play, you're ultimately still achieving a series of objectives on making your way deeper into each new location. Now, the core of the action remains decidedly Luigi's Mansion. You're solving puzzles, battling ghosts, and generally wreaking havoc along the way, and it's good fun. As a 3DS game, however, Tantalus was faced with updating the visuals to appear suitable for the Switch, without completely altering the look of the game. From a technical standpoint, it's certainly no match for Luigi's Mansion 3, but it's still a handsome update to that original. As we bring in the comparisons right away, you'll notice things like smoothed out clouds in this scene. The angular edges are given a nice soft alpha fall off. As the camera
Yeah, it doesn't look paper like you see here, like left, I mean not left, right is more like pixelated than the Nintendo Switch. I think they did an amazing job with this game as far as graphics and visuals. They did good.
jumps inside the lab, then the next major upgrade becomes immediately visible, and this is something you'll see throughout, a massive boost in overall polygon count. If we go ahead and pause the video right here, you can see that the professor's
Oh yeah.
bald head is now so much smoother.
The
and
professor's
rounded
bald
off,
head.
just like that chrome dome shine. In addition, the lighting no longer reveals vertices within the model's surface.
Right, they smoothed
Now, if we
everything
jump
out.
over to Luigi instead, hanging out in his lounge chair, the lift in detail is even more significant. And it's not just the modeling either. The lighting and textures have also been completely reworked. It's all new stuff. It's the kind of thing where, when you first lay eyes on the Switch version, your memory might tell you that this is how the game always looked. It's only when you make these comparisons that you can really appreciate.
I don't know if you guys can see this, but I feel like the eyes are kind of still the same. I think the pupil in the middle, like on the right side on the 3DS is more thicker, and then on the left on the Nintendo Switch is like more thinner. But at least they kind of left the eyes the same a bit. But I mean, everything is so much smoother.
The amount of effort poured into enhancing the presentation while staying true to the 3DS original. It's a really nice way to translate games from that system to a more powerful machine with a higher resolution screen. This scene then, where the professor shows off his gadgetry, is also revealing. Look at the shadows in the scene. Yeah, they're definitely much higher resolution now, as you might expect, but look closer and you'll notice that certain other things, like the professor's little tuft of hair here, cast shadows now, essentially highlighting a more robust shadow solution. I know, sometimes it almost feels like we're a parody of ourselves when we stop and point out things like this, but really, highlighting these little details reveals a lot more about the changes than you might think. But let's go ahead and jump forward to this scene. As we're introduced to the first mansion, the camera sweeps over the area with the raindrops falling. Luigi then is eventually beamed into the world, and we get a chance to compare this scene on both 3DS and Nintendo Switch. One thing you'll notice first, though, is that the overall geometry in the scene is largely unchanged. There are definitely some differences, which we'll see momentarily, but most of the changes tie into the game's textures and materials. They're all much higher resolution now, with significantly more nuance that plays more naturally with the game's lighting systems. This is arguably the most significant improvement, and it really elevates the game's visuals. Just walking around outside the mansion, there's just so much more texture to the scene. It's subtle in some ways, but it contributes to a cleaner overall presentation that just feels more at home on the Switch. You'll see another leap in detail as Luigi goes to open his first door.
It's just, I don't know, like they made this game more cleaner and more fresher and more like, I don't know, it's like a breath air, to be honest. So they did a good job.
Though they did not add back in those simulated reflections we saw on the doorknob way back in the original Luigi's Mansion, did they? Now, I've not had a chance to actually play through the entire game, but this first mission basically tells you everything you need to know about the game's visual upgrade compared to the 3DS version. I would describe this as a smart, clean enhancement that perfectly retains that original look, but introduces enough improvements into the mix that it winds up feeling like a proper definitive release. The more you compare, the more you can really see how much of a leap it really is over the 3DS version. And of course, given that the Switch uses a much higher resolution screen than 3DS, it's unsurprising, but it's nice to see that the game's user interface has also been completely reworked. It's now designed with 1080p in mind, resulting in crisp, clean fonts and menus throughout the game. In fact, image quality is perhaps one of its strongest points. You see, Luigi's Mansion 2 HD targets native 1080p in docked mode and native 720p in portable mode, but each of these also offer very impressive anti-aliasing. As a result, the image quality is among the best we've ever seen on Nintendo Switch. It's just super sharp and clean looking from top to bottom. The relatively simple geometry really shines when it's coupled with such smooth image quality. And it's a perfect example of how one can leverage good image quality with clean, sharp art design to create something that manages to look attractive even on relatively low-end hardware like the Switch.
Exactly. I mean, they have to have, they have to do like all the contours, right? The shadows, the bright lights. Like, I mean, it's HD for a reason, right? They're remastering. This is basically a remaster, right? From the 2013 version. I mean, 2013 version, everything was more pixelated. Now we have like smooth edges. Everything is much more cleaner. You can see things. You can see the ground, the grass, the structure of the houses and everything. So yeah, I mean, everything has to be clean cut. We don't want to, Nintendo does not want to provide us with a game where it's like we're still playing the same quality of game from like back years ago. It makes no sense. So yeah, everything has to be fresh, and I'm glad that they did that.
Of course, when talking about such hardware, there is another cost to consider, and that's frame rate. And this is perhaps a little more interesting than I first expected. You see, in the original form, it turns out that Luigi's Mansion Dark Moon on the 3DS actually runs with an uncapped frame rate. Problem is, even with overclocking, this frame rate is largely very unstable and sticks closer to 30 FPS or just above it. Yet this instability basically means that the game never quite looked as smooth as it should. I remember being quite irritated by this back in the day. On Switch, however, it seems that 60 FPS is still off the table, and the developers have instead opted to lock it down to 30. Given the gameplay and the series' history, I would say that it's largely not a real.
I mean, damn, at 30 FPS, it still looks good as a 60 FPS, but I get what he's saying.
Issue to be concerned with, but I did think it's worth mentioning here, and as you can see, it is 30 FPS. The key here, though, is that in my experience at least, it retains that 30 FPS target basically flawlessly. There's zero hiccups or issues to worry about, it just runs at 30 FPS and that's it. Since it targets 30, however, that means you also get smoother looking frame pacing because it doesn't have this slightly unlocked juddery look of the 3DS original, so that's also an improvement. When you get right down to it then, I would say that this iteration of Luigi's Mansion 2 is indeed better across the board, and
To be honest, I just wanted to point something out. These red ghosts, they really weren't annoying. I think the most annoying ghosts that I ever played with, I mean, that I ever played with, that I ever battled, were the pink ones, the pink and purple ones, and the blue ones. The pink and purple ghosts, what they do is when you're trying to capture another ghost, they'll come right behind you or on the side, wherever you are, and they'll scare you. And what happens is we have to stop trying to capture the ghosts. And it continues on for many battles, right? The blue ones are a little bit annoying because it's like they'll show up and then they'll like disappear, and it's like you have to like touch different items in order for them to pop up. So that was that was pretty annoying. These red ones, they're not really annoying. They're a little bit strong, but at least they don't disappear, they don't scare you, they stay in place actually. So
basically every way. There's really only one thing you're missing here, and that is support for stereoscopic 3D, which the Switch is not capable of. Now, I'm a big fan of the diorama 3D aspect of Luigi's Mansion on 3DS, but I do think that all the other improvements would push me to gravitate towards this new Switch conversion. It's really well done. Now, the other aspect of the presentation I want to talk about then is the audio. As a conversion of a handheld game, I didn't exactly have high hopes that the development team would implement surround sound support, and that's exactly the case. They did not add surround sound support. Luigi's Mansion 2 HD remains a stereo experience with no usage of surround sound channels.
I don't understand what is the point of putting surround sound channel. I mean, when I played it, I mean, with stereo sound, it sounded good. I mean, I don't think there was no need for surround sound. So I get what he's saying, but I don't think there was no need. I feel like games like PS5 games, right? Like story-based games. I think those are the types of games that we should have, surround sound, system on there. But like as far as like Switch games and stuff like Luigi, Mario, these type of games, I don't think it's worth putting surround sound. I think stereo sound sounds good either way, like, but I get it.
Audio in general, though, I would argue, isn't exactly a high point for this game. It's quite serviceable and it sounds good enough, but I feel it just doesn't have the same appeal as the original Luigi's Mansion on GameCube. which has such a unique soundscape.
Mario.
Mario. Look at his little nose just like going up and down. So cute. You know what's funny? Like, since he couldn't open that door, I wanted to see if, like, because in the 2HD, like, if you try to open a door that can't open, what the door will do is it will smack you against the damn wall and then like throw you off, and that literally kicks off a lot of your life. So I'm surprised that when in this one, I think, yeah, this is Nintendo GameCube, I'm surprised that when he tried to open the door here, the door didn't automatically smack him. So I guess that's a new feature in the 2HD. I'm not sure.
The compositions are okay enough, but none of them really grabbed my attention in quite the same way. So what about the game itself then? Well, this is interesting. On the surface, I would say it's my least favorite of the 3 Luigi Mansion games, yet given the quality of the trilogy, that's hardly an indictment. All 3 games are solid. So even if I would say that Luigi's Mansion 2 is my least favorite, I still think the experience is quite enjoyable and worth playing. It's polished, it's fun, there's a lot of interesting mansion designs here, the missions and core mechanics are all good, and the new coat of paint holds up well under scrutiny.
I would say the same thing too. Like, the game overall is pretty good.
You'd be hard pressed to guess that this started life as a 3DS game. So I'd say overall, I'm happy that this version exists, and I feel that the developers did a very good job in bringing it to a new platform. It also makes me wonder if we'll see a 4th game at some point in the near future.
Yeah, I would hope that they will come out with Luigi Mansion 4, because I know Luigi Mansion 1, 2, and 3 came out, obviously, and they just remastered 2. No, I think they remastered 2 HD, and I think they remastered the 3rd one, right? Yeah, because I was playing the 3rd one and then I stopped because I couldn't get into it. And then once 2 HD came out, I played it. I actually beat the whole game and I actually liked it. So I'm thinking of just finishing Luigi Mansion 3 just to like finish it and then probably go into Luigi Mansion 1. But I don't know if they remade Luigi Mansion 1. I don't think that they did. If they didn't, they should. And like what Digital Foundry said, we hope that Luigi Mansion 4 comes out. Because I would like to know, like, what else, like, what other mansions are we going to go into? Who's going to be the big boss at the end? You know, is it that the Dark Moon is going to, you know, get taken over again? Do we have to break it? Is someone going to break it apart? Do we have to go rescue these pieces? Do we have to capture more ghosts? Obviously, yes. Because if it's Luigi Mansion 4, obviously we have to capture more ghosts, but what kind of ghosts are we going to encounter this time? So that'll be very interesting.
Next Level has been relatively quiet since Luigi's Mansion 3, and re-releasing a game like this could help spark interest in the series once more. Maybe it'll be a Switch 2 game, who knows? But that's going to do it for this video, so I hope you enjoyed it, and we'll see you next time.
All right, so that was Digital Foundry's review for Luigi Mansion 2 HD. Overall, I agree with everything that he said on this video, except with the whole, you know, why they didn't put surround sound in this game. And honestly, like, it doesn't, like, to me, like, I don't think they should have, you know, they don't have to put surround sound on this game. Like I said before, surround sound is more it's better to be placed on games that have like a story that's kind of like movie based kind of story. Like, for example, like God of War have to have surround sound. The Last of Us, surround sound. Uncharted, surround sound. Like, these are all story based games and action based games. So I think that those type of games should have surround sound system instead of, like, you know, Nintendo Switch games. I feel like the Nintendo games, like, they all have stereo sounds. I mean, I'm pretty sure there's some games for Nintendo that do have surround system sounds. So, but I think for this particular game, I don't think that surround sound should be added. I think what they did with adding stereo sound was great. The game sounded great to me. I don't know. Like his Luigi's voice, the professor's voice, all of the ghosts' voices, like everything sounded great. I think overall the game is very good. I had fun. Boss fights were pretty good. Graphics and visuals, they did a phenomenal job so far. I mean, shoot, comparing it to the 3DS, like that's a major, major difference. So I'm glad that they remade it. Hopefully Luigi Mansion 4 comes out. And let's see what else Nintendo has in store for us. So yeah, definitely. So guys, thank you so much for watching my review video here, and I will catch you on the next one. Let's go.